phone pattern, just a little above it, which is typical at the end. We're either going to go back down to the lower side, which would be about 15,500 on the Dow, or if we don't make a new low in the next month, I'm saying by mid-December is my decision point. If we don't see a new low in the Dow, like 15,500 or so by early to mid-December, then this market's probably going to go push up one more time, and our target would be around 19,000 on the Dow, and that's because the final resistance would be the old high on the NASDAQ.
Sure.
Back in 2000, at 5,050, and that's about 7 to 8% higher. So stocks are either going to go 7 to 8% higher in the next couple of months, but if they break down about 12%, then this bubble is over.
And then that's what our entire fiat economy is based on. I hear some people calling to talk radio. I talk to folks on the street. They say, I don't care if Obama's bankrupting coal power plants. I don't care if the stock market goes down. I don't own stock. They don't know they get electricity from those plants. They don't know companies are running and expanding and hiring people off their stock price. What's going to happen to kind of the trust fund kids, the yuppies, the trendies, also blue-collar workers that don't care about these? I mean, what's going to happen when this comes crashing down? I expect people to just go crazy.
Well, you know, Homer Simpson already got hit. The housing crisis, they peaked. The average household peaks at age 46. We hit that in 2007. We predicted that 20 years before, that by 2007, our economic momentum after that would turn down. It did. Governments are just filling that up with free money, which is crazy. But Homer Simpson's already been hit hard. Underwater mortgages, wages have been declining, adjusted for inflation, since 2000, for a long time. It's the top 20%, the college-educated, low unemployment people, and these 20% own all the financial assets like stocks. Most people own a home, but most people don't own that much stocks. And this stock market crashes, it's going to hit the affluent. And it's going to hit them much harder than it hit Homer Simpson, because they're so invested in this bubble and in real estate and stocks. So
and they're very haughty and very arrogant. You know, they make fun of the old timers that would put their money in their mattress or bury gold in the back 40. Well, you know what? Those old folks ended up being in a good place, you know, once the Depression hit, and actually got richer. But it's the trendies that end up jumping out of buildings.
Yes, exactly. And the government has rigged the markets, you know, by putting interest rates at 0 short term and 0 adjusted for inflation long term. They're saying money is free. That means people borrow, they're not going to buy bonds, so they forces them into the stock market. It allows traders and hedge funds and financial institutions to lever 30 to 51 at low cost, and that just feeds this bubble.
And then they make money just off of the trades.
It has to burst. It's not inflation we should worry about, or hyperinflation. It's this bubble bursting because the government has deliberately created another bubble to keep the wealthy spending, because they're the only people that will spend, and wealthy people peak later, around early 50s, which is about now. So we see the wealthy going off a cliff naturally, and we see this bubble bursting hitting them because they own all these way overvalued financial assets.
That's right. Absolutely right. This is just a fact. Just strap yourselves in. Mercedes and Dan for the guests. Then we'll go to Matt and Chuck and Jay after he leaves us, all these Obama supporters. We've got our reporters in Ferguson to give us a report at the bottom of the next hour. Let's go to Mercedes in Oregon. You got a question for Mr. Dent. Go ahead.
Yes, I was listening, and I take real issue with any statements claiming that people have to work until they're 75. That, to me, is an insane statement, because, and I'll tell you, the minute that Alex Jones started speaking out and standing up for all of us, for himself and for all of us, his family, this was on its way out, okay? People got to understand that. We are awaking. We're making changes. We're doing it on a conscious and unconscious level now. All this horrible stuff that you guys are seeing is because it's on its way out, okay?
Well, ma'am, let me just stop you for a minute. Let me just stop you, because I want to quantify what you're saying. Listen, he's saying, with the amount of entitlements, with what's been done, with all the free stuff given away to big corporations, but also poor people, it's created debt bubbles that even if you work till 75, you're not going to be able to basically retire we've created an impossible fraud living on future generations. So he doesn't want you to work till you're 75. He's saying that that's a mathematical fact of what has been developed. And sorry, you didn't have 3 kids, so there isn't a big enough economy now for you to be able to do that. I mean, this is just how it works. But I'm going to skip this network break. This is so important. I want to give her time. Quantify for me. Talk to me like I'm 5 years old, Mercedes. What are you saying here? You're saying we're going to beat this system. We're going to change it. We're going to whatever. I mean, explain to me, because their answer is bring in austerity, and so you'll be willing to live with less. That's the bureaucrats' answer, and then punish everybody, like with Obamacare for the overspending, which is, you know, worse than fascism. I don't even know what you call this. What are you quantifying here? I mean, what are you trying to say?
Okay, so look, you've already pointed out the fraud. It's a fraud, okay? So patterns, projections, all this stuff based on fraud. Therefore, we replace the fraud with a real economy. And this is where other people come into play, like Karen Hudes. She's been talking about restoring the economy on its basic level. What is the money based on? She's saying gold, and it's there. We can make this change without having to go into war, because that is what everybody wants. I mean, it's so fraudulent. It's so big. Don't you understand?
No. Listen, I hear what you're saying, and I appreciate your call. I want to get Mr. Dent's take on this, but listen. They've made the decision that old people are crud and that babies are crud, euthanize everybody. That's going to be the real solution that Bill Gates is getting us ready for and the left's getting everybody ready for. Okay? We have to start valuing our parents again. We have to start valuing being savers again. We have to start valuing our heroes, being trailblazers and inventors again. I don't want to blame the general public, but on average, we've gotten pretty decadent and soft, okay? Now, Dent can disagree, but I want to get his take on this. He's just talking about what they're already getting everybody ready for. Is there a way out of this or a way to mitigate it and not make it as rough as it's going to be? Because I can tell this is scaring people. What do you take from what she said?
Well, Mercedes, I hear what you're saying. It's just, here's the number. $67 trillion in unfunded Medicare, Medicaid, and Social Security entitlements promised to people at a time when the economy is going to slow down naturally because the baby boom has peaked in spending. So this number is only going to get worse. $67 trillion, that is 4 times as much as our total government, federal government debt that has people scared to death. That's reality. If you can figure a way we can retire at 63 to 65 and fund that $67 trillion and growing, then great. My second thing is, everybody I know that's retired, and most people, are bored. I have no intentions to retire until my health fails. I'm going to work till 75, 80, whatever. I want to do something. I want to maybe work less. I maybe want to do something that's more, fun to me or more challenging or something I value more.
No, you might want to go teach economics. You might want to go oil paint. You might want to, run a gardening school. You might want to take more vacations, but,
Or start your own charitable foundation. There's many things to do, but this is a reality that America and all countries around the world are not facing. And you see Japan's debt just keeps going up and up and up and up and up because they're 11 years ahead of us. Japan has had their bubble burst ahead of us. Real estate stocks, they've had this coma economy with stimulus that never turns around because they don't rebalance the debt and don't let the bubble burst and let things, because see, one of the problems is people old or young are facing unaffordable education, unaffordable health care. People investing for the future are going to get no returns because stocks and real estate have bubbled up so much. If we don't correct these imbalances, which the free market system does very, very well on its own, then we're not going to have
Sure. But I mean, look, there's a destructiveness to it. And I go back to the Democrats, and I've never been a partisan person, but they've really turned into a virulent form of cancer right now. I'm just stating the facts here. They're not like Australia or Switzerland saying, bring us your skilled workers, bring us your brains. They want now welfare moms, unaccompanied kids, people with mental illness, people with handicaps to bankrupt the system. And they admit they want to bankrupt it. To, like Ezekiel Emanuel said, we want to wreck everything to take it over. There is a piratical nature here where they want to ride these crises to dictatorial power. Your take on that statement?
Well, I'll just back up and say, look, we have to face this problem. It takes a transition. Germany's already raised their retirement age from 65 to 67, and they're older than us. That's
no,
why
I know, but they're not even trying to replace people with hard workers now. Why would the Democrats want the worst immigrants out there?
Right, exactly. We let the least educated come across the border freely, and then we turn down people with master's degrees that come over here from China and India. So again, it's the opposite of what Australia does. Australia has the next generation is larger than the baby boom generation in Australia, Norway, and Sweden, and a handful of smaller countries, because they've encouraged births or they've encouraged high quality immigration. We have to do that. We're doing the opposite.
We have to stop committing suicide politically and economically. Let's go to Dan in Canada. Has a question for Mr. Dent. Go ahead.
Hello.
Yep, you're on the air.
All right. Hey, how you doing? First-time caller.
Welcome.
Basically, I have a question. I was listening to some other economic people talking, and the people that don't have money, let's say, to buy gold or silver or whatever, like the people that are working hard, just trying to get by day to day, pay their bills, and raise their kids or families as best they can. They were saying to go into something like, for example, like say buy bottles of alcohol or cartons of cigarettes and just stockpile them, because they could be used as bartering tools later on.
Yeah, I've always told people, like bourbon bottles and shotgun shells, things that people will want, or canned goods or something. Makes sense. Gold and silver keep going down because the reality is we're in a deflationary environment. When you have asset bubbles, when stocks and financial assets bubble up, driven by debt bubbles.
Sure, I think he's asking how to be more successful now.
You get deflation. Money gets destroyed. Cash is king. And like you say, just basic things that you can barter with will be much better than gold and silver. I see gold going to $700 or lower and silver going to $5 to $10 or lower. And we got people out of silver at $49 in late April of 2011, the day of the top.
It's still a wild card in my view, but we got to look at all options. Expanding on that, though, I think he's mainly asking, how can he be more successful? You've got to see how trends are moving. You might have to move to a boom town and know the business and the niche where you can charge more and be more successful, and then force yourself to expand and duplicate your skill. Because it's almost like you can't stay small now and really gain a bunch of wealth. In most cases, you've got to duplicate that skill you've got in an area that is a boom area. And so what did our ancestors do before when something was bad? They migrated. And so, I mean, it's coming to a time where you can't sit where you've always been. You've got to move around and try things and be entrepreneurial. Mr. Dent?
Yeah, and real quickly, this is the time to become an entrepreneur, because jobs are going to get slaughtered when this happens. But it's also, in demographics, there's always something booming. As the baby boomers age, if I were working for a car dealer, I would switch to an RV dealer. RVs are going to have the greatest boom in history. Healthcare, nursing homes, vitamin companies, things like this.
Yeah.
These things are going to boom with the aging of the baby boomers. So you want to also orient your job or your skills to a sector that still has good demographic trends, or like you say, towns where people are moving to. Texas is a great state. I mean, it's got the strongest migration and immigration of any country, and it's created the most jobs. So if you're in Texas, you didn't have a bubble in real estate like the coast did, so you're not going to get creamed, and you've got better demographics. So yes, we've got a free newsletter, Economy and Markets at harrydent.com. We give people a lot of information.
You do, and thank you so much. We're going to talk to you soon. harrydent.com. Folks, go check that out. I'm Alex Jones. Stay with us. We got the Obama supporters coming up.
Network.
Introducing Secret 12, the new InfoWars Life vitamin B12 formulation. Most forms of vitamin B12 are highly processed and synthetic and could not be properly absorbed by the body. That's why for real results, so many are having to turn to painful B12 injections, which are known to have higher absorption rates. Now, InfoWarsLife.com is excited to announce that we can bring you our most bioactive, powerful form of B12 that has been developed with our exclusive perfected process. Secret 12 is a binary of nutramedical grade, bioavailable coenzyme forms of B12, methylcobalamin, the same kind used in B12 injections, and adenosylcobalamin. Secret 12 is simply taken by mouth, right on the tongue, and then swallowed. No needles, no injections. Don't take my word for it. Try it for yourself. Discover the secret. Secret 12. Secure your revolutionary Secret 12 formula right now at InfoWarsLife.com or call 888